Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Well, today we're going to be checking out this new update from Rivian, and this is version 2025.34.30, and this is a quad motor 2026 Rivian R1T. And so if you looked at some of my previous videos, I picked this vehicle up this month, a few weeks ago, and one of the complaints I had about this was the audio system. And the Generation 1 vehicle, one of the issues I had with it was driver assist. Well, this update actually addresses both of those issues. One of the things it does is enhance highway assist improvements and introduce coast steer. And so that's pretty cool. I know on my road trip back home from Colorado, when you get in a lane and you're next to a semi and you kind of try to get away from it a little bit, it'll disengage the hands-free driving. We're going to see how this improvement works. We're going to take it on the highway and test it out. And also increase the availability of enhanced highway assist by over 50%, enabling longer uninterrupted stretches of hands-free driving. That's pretty cool. We're going to see how that works over time. Introduce a new perception model that improves lane centering performance, especially in moderate to tight curves. And we'll check that out also. On my road trip home, I didn't really notice any issues with curves. I did have some issues when there was a barrier, like for highway construction, but outside of that, tight curves, we'll see. I didn't notice anything. I believe this. I felt like the vehicle was very well centered. There was no drifting as I was driving hands-free, and I felt very safe and secure, except when I was next to a big semi or some other person that was kind of intruding into my lane. And also, it added smart charging schedule, and I'll show you what that looks like in the app here. And so I did set this up. So basically this is what this looks like. So if you go to the energy tab, and right here it has schedule and it has all peak charging, and you can go ahead and select that, and that's how to set this up. But if you select this, it'll let you know exactly when to start charging. And basically for my utility, and it has the, it puts a precise location in the amperage. Oh, that's something different. I didn't know you could do that. So I just learned something new. I didn't know you can change the amperage through the app. Yeah, I never noticed this before. And so that's pretty cool. That's something nice to have. So it just shows here that the stop time is 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Those are my all-peak charging times for my utility. And in here it'll show you what your utility is and whether or not, and the time period for all-peak charging. However, in order for me to save money, I have to actually go in and sign up for a program where I can get a reduction in rate. Otherwise, my rate will stay the same. And so you might want to check your utility also. And I'm with Ameren, Illinois. And Ameren, Missouri is the same way. So you have to actually set up and apply for a program where they're monitored over a year. You have to let them know how many kilowatt your charger is and things like that. And then you get a reduction. But there is a penalty you'll pay. If you charge outside of those time frames, my utility rate, it reduces it maybe about 1 or 2 cents per kilowatt hour, which is really not that much. But I think during the summer rates, I may pay around 14 cents per kilowatt hour. And the non-summer rates is like maybe 13 cents per kilowatt hour. However, if I charge outside of that, I pay 65 cents per kilowatt hour, which is more than even the EVgo chargers. That's very expensive. So you get really penalized if you charge outside of that. So you might want to really consider whether or not a program like this may work for you. And I say definitely check your utility out and just see what the parameters or the rules are for the program, whatever one, if you have to register for it. But if you are in a utility that has all peak rates, this is something that will definitely help you out, help you save some money. So that's pretty cool. Next thing is enhanced audio settings. So to optimize your listening experience, you can now save custom versions of the equalizer profile. Plus we've added 2 additional custom slots that you can also rename. And I think this is outstanding. This is another thing you had an issue with, and I'll just show you what I mean here. And so if you go to the equalizer, before you had these default settings in here, like classical, voice, rock, jazz, hip hop. And the way they had it, the default setting for each one of these categories, I didn't care for, and I would adjust it myself, but there was no way to custom set it. So if you accidentally hit one of these other, like voice or rock or jazz, it'll wipe your setting out and you got to reset it again. But now with this custom setting, you can just go ahead and set it the way you want. And you see how custom 1, I haven't done anything yet. And then you see custom 2 is set up already, but that is pretty awesome there. And that is a great addition. The only thing I would like to see next is some type of power meters or a spectrum analyzer. I think that'd be really cool if you had that in here also. I know the Jeep Wagoneer has the Macintosh power meters, and I think that looks pretty cool. You know, so that'd be something nice to have, Rivian, if you can, you know, set up a spectrum analyzer or either some power meters. That'd be a nice to have, something cool to look at while you're driving. And also additional improvements, audio improvements, fine-tune equalization and delays to make the bass feel richer and more impactful, and soundstage improvements for better localization, separation, and layering. Improved blending of Dolby Atmos content for all listening positions. On my road trip back from Colorado, when I purchased this vehicle, one of the critiques I had about the audio system is that this is one of the worst I've heard in any vehicle I ever owned at any price point. And I would have to say that I forgot about this upgrade, and I listened to some music and noticed a dramatic improvement. This is a dramatic improvement. And also notice that it depends on what source that you're using, how the audio sounds, but I just checked all the different sources and it is light years better. It's almost like you have a new audio system in this vehicle. And so I didn't think that they would be able to improve it with software upgrades, but you know, maybe mine was a little off, but whatever they just did made a dramatic improvement in exactly what they said. And I'm a car audiophile. I used to install audio systems. I also build speakers, you know, so I'm really keen on the sound and music, the highs, the lows, and the mids, and the sound staging. And they definitely improve the layering and the sound staging of this. Now, is it as good as the Meridian? I would have to say now it's right there. I would have to say it's right there on par with the Meridian system I had. Yeah, this is outstanding. So this is a great improvement. Really excited about this, and great job, Rivian. Now I can listen to some music and like, okay. So awesome job. And also performance improvements, updated and improved media apps, including increased touchscreen responsiveness, improved navigation stability and responsiveness, improved responsiveness to mobile app, remote, and made improvements to the accuracy of battery range on arrival estimates, including adding location air density as a factor for locations at higher elevations. Okay, that's pretty smart. Pilot Flying J charging sites have returned to maps and included live availability pricing and remote start. Pretty cool there, because we have a Pilot Flying J charging station that's installed right down the road. And also reduce excessive blower noise during climate control startup and mild conditions while maintaining cooling performance in extreme temperatures. Fix the rare issue that caused cabin conditioning requests initiated from the Rivian mobile app to fail on first attempt. Introduce additional improvements to the 12-volt battery health detection, including in-vehicle and mobile app notifications to alert you when a 12-volt battery needs to be replaced. And that's pretty good to have also. And so those are all the improvements, and we're going to take it on the road. And so, and then we'll discuss this on the other side, and I'll see you all back in a few when we go on the highway. Okay, so I am on the highway and I'm driving hands-free. I'm just going to test this nudge feature here, but go ahead and hit a lane change. Yeah, look at that, hands-free. And it conducted the lane change, no problem. And I can see it looks like the lines are wider on the display in the center. So I'm just going to test this out. And of course, we're going around the curve. This is a pretty tight curve here. Smooth as glass. And there's no going, you know, there's no ping pong or anything like that. And so I'm just going to test this nudge feature here. And, you know, slowly going over. Curve coming up here. Let's see if I can test on the curve. And yeah, so I can ride right on the line and it's not disengaging. Before it would have disengaged. You let it go and see if it centers back. And it went right back into the center. And this is as we're going around a pretty long curve here. And again, I'm hands-free. And this bodes well for the R2 that'll be coming up here shortly. And very excited about that. I know that's going to be a game changer for Rivian. And so if you're a Rivian investor, you might want to be looking at those stock prices as they are right now. Because in about a year or so, you'll probably be wishing that they were at the price that they are now. Again, going around another curve, we're just going to test this feature here. Let's see if I have a simulated semi coming. This is so much better. I can even ride the line and it's not disengaging. Before you if you apply this amount of pressure on it, it'll just disengage. This is so much better. Of course, another improvement on top of this is if it actually nudges it way over, using the sensors on the side to give you a little more space between yourself and any type of vehicle, such as a semi that may be next to you and kind of intruding into your lane. Because that can be a little nerve-wracking. These improvements are very nice. And again, I've been listening to the audio system on the way over to the highway, and it is light years better. I mean, it is like a totally different audio system. The sound staging is light years better. The highs are a lot crisper. The sound staging has improved dramatically. I almost can't even believe how big of an improvement this was on what I just had maybe 3 weeks ago. But yeah, this is definitely great right here. This hands-free. Let's see what we have here. So we got a car coming up in front of me, and I'm just going to go ahead and execute a lane change here. You see it's executed that lane change quite nicely. All you do is just press down on the turn signal. And I'm going to just try to simulate getting away from this vehicle. And it does it quite nicely. Light years better. Much better improvement, Rivian. Outstanding job, Rivian. And this is why I got another Rivian. Because they do stuff like this. It's the process of continuous improvement. They're not just settled on a product as is, like all these other manufacturers are as far as their electric vehicles, which I'll say a lot of these vehicles by these OEM manufacturers are just compliance vehicles, where Rivian is truly in the game. They're in it for electric vehicles and the improvement of EVs. I'm going to go ahead and get off over here. I'm going to turn around. That's pretty cool because I just went through multiple lanes. I did the manual lane change and I went through multiple lanes and it still re-engaged when I moved 2 lanes over. So that's something different. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate all my subscribers. So I'm going to have to say that was very successful. That is a huge improvement for me. Again, along with the audio system, gigantic improvement for me. And yeah, this is awesome. And also, let me know your thoughts in the comment section as far as what do you think about these improvements and just Rivian overall. Rivian taking the time out and listening to their customers and really improving these vehicles and just all the little things. But that's all I have for today. I'd like to thank you for joining me once again. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.